The Spin-off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
2010 was a phenomenal time for local music. The highest selling single of the year was You Got Me by Jay Williams featuring Scribe. And if you ignore Susan Boyle's album The Gift and Susan Boyle's album I Dreamed a Dream, Gin Wigmore's Holy Smoke was the highest selling album of the year. This was a year of Naked and Famous Young Blood, of Dane Rumble's Cruel, of Stan Walker's Little Black Box. But all of this pales in comparison to what would happen one idle Friday afternoon when a Christchurch band would wander into an after-school kids show and challenge everything we knew about music, television, and perhaps our very existence. Join us as we remember when a death metal band played on the Erin Simpson Show. Here we go. Kia ora koutou katoa. Welcome to Remember When. This is your weekly dose of pop culture nostalgia brought to you by The Real Pod. My name is Alex Casey and I'm joined today by someone who actually sits in the perfect intersection between Erin Simpson gossip and local music knowledge. Kia ora, Duncan. Great to have you here.
Kia ora, Alex. Yeah, I mean, I do feel like weirdly well qualified to comment on this for a change. I'm excited.
I can't believe it has taken this long for Erin Simpson to come up on this podcast. It's really shocking.
We're just completely invisible to us.
We were just saving it, but now we might be in our kind of Simpson era. Who knows? Like, there's a lot to get through. Before we go any further, please, if you like New Zealand nostalgia and pop culture and talking about celebrities, subscribe to The Real Pod Extra, which is our Substack. It's just therealpod.substack.com. There is some incredible content being pumped out there. Would you agree, Duncan?
Yeah, I think Samuel in particular, like it feels like a safe space for him to sort of just let loose, and the content is outstanding. Like the nights and he's going above and beyond. Like he went out very late at night for content and had the greatest time. And the only way you could read about it was in that newsletter.
Do you remember when we used to do that? God,
I do.
Going above and beyond. Okay, so we are talking today about not just Erin Simpson, but the Erin Simpson Show in this particular moment. I feel like we need some context here. I mean, Duncan, how old were you in 2010?
I was 30.
Okay, so you were perhaps not watching after-school children's television?
No, but I actually did appear on the Erin Simpson Show, which is a fun fact I only remembered when doing research for this.
Wow, what were you doing?
I was editing Real Groove magazine until I think 2009, so I must have been very early in the Erin Simpson Show, and they had a roving reporter by the name of Ruby Frost, also of reality TV fame. Well, and yeah, she came and interviewed me at Real Groove about music magazines or some such, and it was really cute. It was a great little package, actually, and that's why I think these shows, they're like great training grounds for reporters. They sort of help kids sort of understand the world. They do like a sort of slightly junior, S Club Juniors version of TV, and hence every so often something extraordinary happens, like what we're about to discuss.
Because it's the sheer volume of it, right? So the Erin Simpson Show was produced out of Christchurch from White Bay. It was every weekday at 4:30, and they would have live music often, so many guests, so many things. I mean, that slot in particular, we think about like WNTV came before it, the Adam and Eve show came after. The Erin Simpson Show ran for 4 years, 770 episodes. That is
so much TV.
That is crazy from our Erin. Like OBE, you know?
Yeah. Also, another thing that I'd forgotten about it, that theme tune is unbelievably good.
It's
I'm surprised that wasn't one of the biggest singles of 2010.
I know, and that's local music too, isn't it? We've actually got a clip, if you are not familiar with the theme tune, which I'm sure you will once we play this. Let's just reacquaint ourselves.
Come on, give me what you got. Listen, honey, yeah, we can take it to the top, don't you worry. All right, everybody's getting ready right now. Turn it up in every city.
Oh, how about that, eh? Please welcome our guest band for today, Blindfolded and Led to the Woods. And welcome along to the show. Different sound to you guys, isn't it?
Yep, technical death metal.
Okay. Basically, we have this rockin' theme tune that we're used to hearing every single day. And then on one particular Friday afternoon, it was a Friday before the holidays, so, you know, all the kids would have been at home excited. The theme tune just kind of becomes death metal really quickly. And we are introduced to a band called Blindfolded and Led into the Woods. Very kid-friendly, I think we can all agree.
Oh, extremely. But like weirdly, because you're sort of, you see the name death metal like as a genre, and you just assume it's probably not super kid friendly, and you assume that it will almost, at least to my mind, that it will sound worse than it actually sounds. Like I was kind of pleasantly surprised by how like melodic and accessible. Well, once you get past the fact that the singing is a particularly narrow and specific style, I was like, this kind of bangs.
You love that. So do you have any previous history with technical death metal in your music criticism?
I've never reviewed it and never owned it or deliberately listened to it, but I'm very aware of it, where it sits in the kind of panoply of kind of subgenres of metal, you know. So it wasn't unexpected sonically, but it just not. And it's a really vibrant form. It's got like a decades deep history, a lot of kind of Norwegian stuff, which did get quite unchristian-like. There were some like famous church burnings and so on that happened back in the day, some real life murders. But but also like it's just it's a whole scene unto itself. It's just never ever supposed to be on the Erin Simpson Show. That's just really important to its fundamental reality as a music.
So it's a form of heavy rock music using lyrics preoccupied with death, suffering and destruction is what I found on my extensive research. And this particular band, who we'll get on to their success following this appearance later. They are still together. They are still releasing music. This was probably quite early on in their career. They had songs including titles like Meth Tooth, Hallucinative Terror, and Funeral Smiles. oh, here we go.
Oh my.
Yeah, so they're live in the studio. I think it seems like the live acts on Erin Simpson were there the entire episode, and Blindfolded and Led into the Woods were no exception. So we kind of open with them. There's a little aside, technical death metal. But they did not leave. Like, they are there for this entire episode. And what it led to was some amazing chat between our gracious host, Erin. And Tim, we need to be clear here. We are at Erin Simpson House, the real pod. is an Erin Simpson fan account, basically, right?
Yeah, extremely. We've followed her whole journey from basically host of the show to a married mother, influencer to the nation. You know, she fused with a bachelor, which is kind of, you know, really is the origin story of this podcast. You know, she if you were to pick one celebrity other than Mike Puru to symbolize us and sum us up, it would be Erin Simpson.
It would be our Erin. And so there's a little clip here of some of the chat that she had in the studio with this Christchurch metal band, blindfolded and led into the woods.
Oh, that's right. Give it up for our guest band today. My hair's going everywhere from all the head banging, blindfolded and led to the woods. Now, boys, there's a bit of a story because we hear you practicing every night when we leave work over in the storage shed. So what are you practicing for?
We're practicing for an up-and-coming gig. It's happening tomorrow night. We're opening for an Australian band called Akaname, and we're really looking forward to it.
So, Mike, you're hitting so that you're not singing anymore. Now, 5 members, isn't there 6?
Yeah, there's usually 6, but unfortunately one of our band members fell off a roof and has broken both his legs. So he couldn't make it here today.
Oh, our thoughts are with you, though. Hey, so if we can't make any of your gigs, where can we catch you?
You can check us out on Facebook. Just search Blindfold and Led to the Woods and you'll come across our page. You can watch our videos and stuff.
Great. Well, thank you for being here today. And Facebook, good for the holidays. Also good for the holidays, arts and crafts. Eh, boy?
I mean, that is a professional. To make the link. The segue. Facebook, good for the holidays. Speaking of the holidays, arts and crafts. This woman is unparalleled.
That interview is just so great. Like, I really love the opening question, what are you practicing for? Which can be read so many ways. One of which is like, why? Just like a big, this, I'm not sure we need it. Or, well, you're already perfect. Like, don't even bother. It's such a funny opener. And then when it turns out like the most metal thing that's ever happened has happened. The guy fell off a roof and broke his legs. It's like, thoughts and prayers. Who's like, does not enjoy the response at all.
And we've got a gig. We've got a gig tomorrow. We're opening for Akaname. And like, also this is not a live broadcast. This came out a week later. And also these kids are like 8. They're not going to Akaname.
Yeah, their parents are like concerned enough that they were exposed to death metal. They're not like sending them out into the night saying, I hope you come back after being blindfolded and led to the woods.
I remember, so this came back into my consciousness in 2018 and I tried to kind of delve back into it. I interviewed Erin, I interviewed some of the lads about it because I was just like, how did this happen? And she does allude to it in that interview that they were literally just practicing next door, you know, for a long time. And they always thought, maybe we should bring them in. She knew that they were called Blindfolded and Led to the Woods, but she thought it was sort of like a picnic thing.
It tells you so much about the world of the Erin Simpson Show, right? That you would hear a name like that and be like, oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah. I'll bring the marmalade. But she was also like, she said that she remembers feeling instantly very kind of self-conscious that they had walked into what she describes as a rainbow bright hell, which is the Erin Simpson Show set. And you've got these lads, 5, normally 6, of course, our thoughts are still with you, who suddenly are like very out of place. Not that you would know it. I mean, if you watch that performance stuff, the kids are giving it hell. There's like a circle pit in there.
It's all just music.
And Erin, of course, is doing quite a lot of head banging. So they described in the story, they're both kind of in this standoff where they're both feeling a lot of kind of crippling doubt. You know, Erin and the producers who brought them in, the band who are kind of like, is this okay? Like, are we allowed to be doing this? But they maintain they were very insistent the entire time. We are a technical death metal band. They could not have said it more. And then Erin Simpson just came to the conclusion that they were like, our show is all about supporting young New Zealanders with a passion and a goal and people who are working hard. And that's, you know, Blindfolded and Led to the Woods are working really hard.
Honestly, I no notes. It was a perfect moment of New Zealand pop culture, and we should have a lot more like it, you know? Like, it was funny. Like I quite frequently listen to, it's a bit of a tangent, but listen to like RNZ, and there's such a specific, quite narrow range of music that you ever hear on there that excludes purposefully whole worlds because it's not meant to be there. But if a technical death metal band can play on the frickin' Erin Simpson Show, maybe we just aren't, any of us, trying hard enough and testing the limits of the possible. Because you put that on there, and that's surely the most memorable thing to ever happen on that show, maybe on any kid show anywhere in the world at any point in human history. And it rules.
It absolutely rules. And this band, I mean, they were just there having fun. They were convinced they were going to get cut out. Although, you know, as we've seen, they're threaded through the entire episode. It would be pretty hard to cover that up.
It'd be quite a short episode.
It would just play like elevator music over it. So a week later, after they recorded it, the episode aired, and the band immediately asked for a copy of it on DVD. They cut together the supercut, which we have now, you know, made a smaller supercut of, and put it on YouTube, titled Technical Death Metal Band on a Kids TV Show. It went, I mean, for technical death metal in that world, I think it went pretty viral. It's now got 575,000 views. And they kind of became famous in the scene from it. Well, like, and that's the point. Like, that's what the show was there to do, right? Is promote young New Zealanders.
Absolutely. And, you know, they talk about, you know, in your story about playing shows years later and international, like Belgian bands have heard of them. They're notorious as a result of it.
That's
you know,
right.
I think that is, it's just a gorgeous little episode. I also like, you know, and they're still around. Like I looked them up and as we were prepping and noticed that they've still got sponsored advertisements for their show at Ding Dong Lounge at the start of last year. So, you know, it's very metal to be still advertising a show from 18 months ago.
That Belgian band was aborted that they opened for, just so we're clear on that. Which could mean anything, you know. Who's
That's
to
right.
say? And they also said, which I thought was really sweet, that some of the kids, those little kids that were moshing and maybe crying, you know, in that little pit, are now old enough to come to their shows, and they've actually got a few fans who have come up to them and pointed out, you know, their little moshing bods back in 2010. So, Erin Simpson Show, death metal hotbed, you know, that's where it all started.
Who knew?
It's amazing for them, but we also need to talk a little bit about what happened to Erin Simpson after this show, because she just, as you kind of alluded
can we just,
to.
before we leave the show, I just want to point out one last really great thing that happens. So at the end, so Erin Simpson, I reckon, looks knackered while this is happening. Like, you can sense the weight of the hundreds of shows that have been and the hundreds of shows that will come, and the absolute chaos of managing any kind of daily show is a lot. Managing a show that's like basically staffed and built by children, very difficult. And she has this. She talks about this Kia Caravan road trip. It's early sponsored content, I assume. Talks about going to Tokoroa, Tauranga, Taupō, Cambridge, and Tauranga. And she's so stoked to remember the fifth name, and it's also the second name. But, you know, it just felt like that, this little moment that just sums up just what a hard life it is trying to hold that thing together.
She'd also been moshing incredibly hard. You know what that does to your brain?
Oh, totally. She probably, you know, like, she'd have been, you know, gone for a what do they call it? Like a concussion test in a sport. Yeah, an HIA. That's right. I hear in a sporting context. So her bell is ringing.
There's also a great bit at the end of the episode. I'm sorry, I don't know if we have a clip of this prepared. Just after she does that spiel, where they all do kind of a dance. They do a rehearsed dance to the Erin Simpson theme tune, including the members of Blindfolded and Led to the Woods, who I think have been blindfolded and led to the stage because they do not seem to know what they are doing.
No, sir.
But they just are giving it a good crack, and I just love it. Like, what a melting pot. They're like... And this is pre-TikTok. Like, no one had any reason to dance in 2010, you know? It was just like... It was not part of the culture.
But that is just pure monoculture. You just have to get all in the same place and figure it out together. I miss it. That's what this whole show is about, to be honest.
And so the Erin Simpson Show, after this moment, survived and thrived for 3 more years. 2013, it ended and made way for the 4:30 show, which would become the Adam and Eve show. Our Erin went on to host Red Carpet TV, which we all know and love, which was a crucial vehicle for getting her to the red carpet of the New Zealand Music Awards in 2017, where she would lock eyes and have a brief, flirtatious interview with then Bachelor Zach Franick. That was when they fell in love.
Like on TV while she was on the job.
I was trying to find a clip of it because I'm sure it's been shared. Maybe she shared it herself and did kind of like a slow-mo cut of the first time she kind of laughs at his joke or something on that carpet. I could not find it. Maybe this was something I have dreamt.
That's possible.
But that was November 2017, and then by February 2018, confirmed that they were dating. A year later, they were engaged. 6 months later, they were married, exchanging wedding rings that had been 3D printed by cruel artist Dane Rumble. That's the circle of life.
It really is. That's our country at its best.
It's just amazing. And meanwhile, Blindfolded and Led to the Woods were not asked to play at the wedding, strangely.
Catch them at the Ding Dong Lounge that started last year.
3 full-length studio albums since this television debut. They do say that they still have a tumultuous relationship with the clip. On the one hand, it's given them some fame, but then they started to kind of hate it. But they sort of said to me they've realised it's never going to die, so they just want to embrace it. I think they've extended a VIP, a lifelong invite to their shows to Erin Simpson and Zach, and they are sadly yet to show, but anything is possible.
I mean, that's exactly the message that you get from this whole episode, really.
They said their mission is simple. They want to make Erin Simpson the most Okay.
I reckon you might be the least death metal celebrity, Alex.
Okay, this time.
Can't even say it.
Okay. They said their mission is simple now. They just want to make Erin Simpson. I can't do it. Oh my God. You know what I'm trying to say, right? It's really simple. Okay. The mission is now simple. They want to make Erin Simpson the most death metal celebrity in New Zealand.
What a goal.
What a goal. And I reckon in some ways achieved. Not just because of this, but you
It's because of the lack of competition, let's be honest. Like, there is not. Numbers 2 through 100 aren't great.
This is true. But do you remember when Erin Simpson shared a packed lunch that her mum had made her that set the internet alight? And I think we dedicated a whole emergency episode to, which contained 2 boiled eggs and 1 compartment of room temperature mayonnaise.
Nothing more death metal.
I mean, that's Cannibal Corpse. Like, that's eggs 2 ways. That's like the temperature is crazy. The textures are wild. I think she achieved it in that moment. And I think job well done by all involved.
Wow. We just remembered when, didn't we?
I just remembered when really hard. How long have we been talking? Is this an episode?
We did an episode.
We did an episode.
Just like Erin Simpson. Just like Blindfolded and Led to the Woods.
769 to go. Thank you so much for joining us. Please sign up to our Substack for more of this fantastic earth-shattering content. And as always, thank you for remembering with us. Let's let our guest act, Blindfolded and Led to the Woods, play us out. Kia ora, I'm Alex Casey, Senior Writer at The Spin-Off. We wouldn't exist without the ongoing support of our generous members. If you're able to, you can make a donation at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Are you curious about how business can be better? I'm Simon Pound, and I host Business is Boring, a podcast where I kōrero with some of the most interesting people in entrepreneurship, commerce, and making things happen. Tune in to Business is Boring every Tuesday, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with Spark Business Lab.
The Spin-Off Podcast Network.